What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Moguls. My name is Findlay-Shirras, and on today's show, you're going to learn how to start and grow a brokerage really quickly because we have the co-founder of MyHomeGroup, the #1 fastest growing residential real estate brokerage in the state of Arizona, the second fastest growing brokerage in the nation, and MHG has been named one of the fastest growing companies on the Inc. 500 list 4 years in a row. They have over 2,200 agents. They close over 1,900 transactions a month. They're now in 9 states, and I'm going to get him to say those in a sec. All right. This guy believes in empowering agents to grow their personal brand, even though he's the broker. And that's why the agents are so happy, and they're producing, closing over $5 billion in volume a year. So I'm excited to get to know his insights and his advice on how to grow a brokerage, how to do it quickly, the future of the brokerage business model. All right, so get ready to get to know Mr. Jereme Kleven.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with your story and help people kind of get to know you a little bit. Why did you get into real estate? What is your real estate story?
Oh man, I was 20 years old when I decided to get into real estate. Fumbling around college, kind of messing around, didn't know what I wanted to do. Looked at my best friend, still my best friend and business partner to this day, and just said, "Hey, what do you think about going to get our real estate license?" The next thing we knew, we were working open houses and picking up deals and buyers, and it just kind of took off. But spent a long time fumbling around, not really knowing what we were doing. So,
yeah.
As a lot of folks I think do out there.
Now, why did you start a brokerage? Like, you could have just been a top producing agent in a
Right.
brokerage, maybe had a team. Why did you decide to start MyHomeGroup?
We always had that entrepreneurial instincts, and wanted to have our own gig. And so I was actually 25 when we started MyHomeGroup, 2005.
Early.
Yeah, so early along we started the brokerage, but we were really just a small team in the form of a brokerage for many, many years. And so it actually wasn't until 2012 where we decided we wanted to grow. So we've really been on this trajectory or this path that we're on now. Really all began in 2012.
So for all the young potential broker owners who want to start their own thing out there, what would you tell your 25-year-old self now, knowing what you know now about how to get to where you are now faster?
I think one of the things, I get asked this question a lot. What's the biggest mistake you made, or what did you do, or what could you have done differently, right? And it's not necessarily, my answer is not necessarily, hey, we did this and it failed. It is the fact that we didn't start going for the home runs early along. I don't know that we necessarily had the confidence early along to surround ourselves or to try to attract top talent, to try to sit down with top producers, top team leaders. Now I have more top 10 teams with me than any other brokerage in the state of Arizona. I have more top agents and top 100 agents with me than any other brokerage in the state of Arizona. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of snowball effect, right? When one producer leads to another, and you start to get that street cred, so to speak. But early along, I don't know that we necessarily weren't confident, but we didn't have that initiative to really try to attract top talent.
Yeah. What is some of your go-to, your best practices for attracting top talent?
I think if for the folks out there that are looking to grow a brokerage or looking to grow a team, I think first and foremost, like a lot of things in life, it starts with a decision. Truly in your head, heart, and soul, making the decision that you're going to grow, that you're going to do it, just like an agent trying to build the business, right? Some people are part-time or this or that. It's like making the decision that you're going to go all in and you're not going to be stopped, no matter what. I love the line personally, commit first, figure the rest out later, right? It's maybe another line, a way of saying, failing your way forward. But being so truly committed that it's going to happen, you're going to make some mistakes along the way. You're going to drift, but being focused on really, truly, growth. And like I said, surrounding yourself with talent and, we use all the weapons, to attract talent. We used to make phone calls. We use, again, we're big believers in being omni-channel. I think folks, just like agents, should have the same focus when they're dealing with the consumers, being on all the channels, communicating with people where they want to be communicated with, so I might want to call people, but they might not want to be called, so on and so forth. So I think it's more important too as we continue to go forward because this is evolving. We got some brokerages out there that are making some splashes, that are making a lot of phone calls, and they're turning a lot of people off at the same time. So agents don't like to get called anymore. As consumers, we don't like to get phone calls anymore, right?
Yeah.
I'm blocking numbers in my phone every single day of the week, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be more important as we go forward and continue to shift. I think social proof is more important than ever. We've created we've created a fantastic culture. Our agents love MyHomeGroup. They love the brokerage, and they're out there speaking. They're out there sharing our stories. They're out there posting and on social and now saying the things that we've been preaching forever.
What is there's a couple things I want to go deeper into, but so what is your best channel? What are you finding is helping you get more agents to join your brokerage the most? Of all the things you do, these are the number one, number two strategies.
Still to this day, there's nothing's going to beat the phone, right? So if you're going to make the phone calls, which I highly encourage, at the end of the day, it needs to be a core principle for people that want to grow, a core principle of value. Value first.
Yeah.
Value, value, value. I've always looked at it like a bank account. We've all maybe heard this, analogy of the bank account.
Deposits.
Make the deposits, lead with the value before you ask for a single thing. So one of the things that I think really sets us apart right now is if we're going to make calls, texts, emails, whatever it is, that we're leading with value, and we're also leading with an invitation. One of the cool things we do now is something called Workshop Wednesday. So every single Wednesday, all day long, there's a class, there is a mastermind, there are people helping people all day, every single Wednesday. So we lead with an invitation. Same thing with like an agent. When they're out trying to prospect or when they're trying to connect with their consumers, leading with an invitation. Leading with something real. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's winning right now. We're seeing.
Do you have a workshop or a mastermind topic that does really well, that people really like?
I think things that are really how to are always what's current right now is we have a series going on a 3-part series which was really highly attended on Instagram strategies for folks, very well attended. I think things that are more specific are masterminds. We rotate the topics out, and we also listen to our agents, which is important too. At the core of us, we look at our agents like our partners, and so we don't always come in with this direction necessarily right out of the gate of saying this is how it's going to be or this is what we're going to talk about. We want that interaction, people that are in the trenches, people that are experiencing this business and what's current to them.
Okay.
So
what surprised you a lot about owning a brokerage? What did you not expect that has happened?
We expected to grow a lot faster in a shorter amount of time.
What are the states you're in? You're 9 states.
So we're
now.
9 states: Arizona, California, Washington, Utah, Nevada, Texas, Georgia, Florida, Michigan.
And why those states?
And then Utah as well. Did I say Utah? Utah. Okay.
So why those states of all
So we've just been leading with talent. So for a while we said we wanted to be in every state, in every marketplace, and we've changed course a little bit on that. We want to go deeper in the right states. We want to support the talent that we have in these different marketplaces versus necessarily spreading too thin. We want to, like I said, we want to go deeper in the right markets.
And you were surprised that you didn't grow as fast, or that it was harder, or so what was the?
We thought we'd be a lot further along by now. 2,300, like I said, 2012 to 2019 now, 2,300 agents is fantastic, and we have some very, very good people and some very, very good agents and some very, very good teams. And our production, like you mentioned, humbly, doing almost 2,000 transactions a month is fantastic. Yeah. And we're definitely proud, of what we've done and what we've built. But we thought it would happen faster.
What do you think slowed you down? What do you think was some challenges that prevented you from doing it faster?
I think that retention is always a concern in this industry. The bulk of our agents, I'm out of the Phoenix metro marketplace, which is arguably the most competitive broker, competition or competitive marketplace that there is out there. Yeah. The top 3 brokerages in my marketplace are all 100% models, right? Transaction fee based models.
In there too.
They're there. They don't have a
Yeah.
huge presence or market
No.
share, but yeah. So competing with those, we're not going to race to zero. Again, like I said, we've always led with value. So our model.
What's your comp plan?
So we're a transaction fee based
Okay.
Model. So there's a monthly fee to be a part of everything that we're doing, and then there's a transaction fee per close. So for us, it's a low cost, high value model. There's other low cost, low value models out there, and then we all, I'm sure, know the high cost, perceived high value models out there.
Yeah.
That's for another episode we can talk about.
Yeah.
But it's simple what we're trying to do. Like I said, it's a low cost, high value model. So we're focusing every single day, every single week, every staff meeting on how can we deliver more value? How can we facilitate more growth? That's our job at this point.
What are some of the things that you've come up with, apart from the workshops and the masterminds? Now you have the agents with you and you want to retain them, you want to make them better. What are some of the things that you guys have done that have worked really well to add value to your agents so that they are happier, more successful, and they stay?
I think that again, we have a focus and a responsibility to facilitate like-minded people being with like-minded people. I think we all know at this point A players want to be with A players, and we have a lot of those. So how do we facilitate them getting side by side, talking about best practices, talking about how to grow? One of the things I think that this industry is changing a little bit. If you look back 5 or 10 years, there was this real close to the vest, don't look at me, I'm not going to share my secrets kind of a mentality that this industry had. And in 2012, we flipped that upside down on its side, along with a few other things, I think. But again, where we opened up the playbook. We just lead with abundance. We lead with value. Again, we've been in this industry quite a while. It's been good to us. We've also made a lot of mistakes along the way as well. So the idea is that we lead with abundance. We open up the playbook, and then we want to surround ourselves with other people that open up the playbook and want to share. And they're a part of what we're doing. They're a part of our masterminds, they're a part of our workshop Wednesdays. So trying to tailor specifically to those folks, whether it be we just recently did a team leader summit. We have over 40 teams with us. Some have up to 50, over 100 agents, with them. They're little mini brokerages within the brokerage. We got all of them side by side, all together, talking about how are you recruiting, how's culture, how are you getting people productive, all those types of things. And we just recently did a top producer summit, for all of our top 100 producing agents. Same thing, all in the same room at the same time, talking about best practices. So
why would a team not end up just starting their own independent brokerage?
So we've had a lot of folks, with big name brands, all the big name brands that we know around the country, my country, your country, everyone in between, right? That have decided that franchise model is no longer for them. So not just teams, we've also folded in a lot of broker owners or franchise owners into because of the model that we've created. And I think that speaks to, first of all, removing all the cost, all the overhead, all the headache, the management, everything that comes along with that, and really getting them to focus back in on their own growth, right? So these brokerages become like a mini team, their own business, again, within our umbrella. They remove the liability and the cost and the headaches and everything that's a distraction, right? It's not always like, what's the next thing I can add, as we all know? What can I take away to cut the dead weight to take off? So a lot of them have teams or they're still in production, so they can focus more on the true revenue.
Because if you can help a team leader say, like, you could go start your own brokerage, but it's going to cost you more time and more money, and your profit will actually be lower if you do it on your own versus with me.
That's exactly right.
What are some of those specifics that you tell them? Look at, this is what we give to you, this is what we have for you, this is the way our model works, and that helps you save more time, make more money than if you went on your own. What are some of those specifics?
Well, I think it's, when you talk about a comp structure, it is, again, we spoke a little bit about this is, prior to the show, is being able to create a model, a comp structure that's predictable, that's a low cost of sale model, again, that transaction fee based. But we also do things, again, we tailor things specifically to a team. So, you have these folks out there with large caps, and these, the P&L looks terrible in months 1 and 2, and it looks a little bit different as they get throughout the year, right? So, we have been able to provide, like I said, a low cost of sale for a team leader, providing them access into our transaction management system, which actually provides them more visibility, ability to run reports. They're really running a business underneath and they are running a business.
Are you giving them other technologies that you have bought or implemented or partnered with that has allowed you to then add more value to your agents?
So we have a full back office platform that we've spent a lot of time, effort, building out with, a resource center, marketing portals, videos, trainings, all kinds of things that people can go on. We've been more along the lines of the bolt-on technologies.
Are they built internally on your own, or are you working with other companies?
Both. So a lot of, we're taking the stance that we're not going to be a development or a developer.
Yeah.
And so we've bolted on a lot of those outside technologies.
What are some of the ones that you like that you use?
Oh man, from all the lead transaction or lead generation platforms. Again, the transaction management system, SkySlow. A CRM piece that we've built into it, which is or integrated with our platform. And again, so we've always everybody wants to use something different, whatever they're comfortable with, and so we haven't dictated that for our agents.
How do you manage that? Because it would be great if a broker could be like, look, I have a CRM that you all love, I have a website company to work with that you all love, I have this lead generator company that you all love, I have all these, I've picked one thing in all the different categories, working with this company, and every agent just uses it. That just never happens. Every agent's got their own personal preference of what they want. So how do you manage that? Like, do you just kind of stay out of it? Or?
We stay out of it. Yeah. It's not. We've never taken the stance that it's our. We don't take the position of say, look, you must use this CRM or you must, use A, B, and C. It's up to them to have that freedom. And again, we're bringing on wildly productive agents, and that have had long-standing businesses. So. We just haven't taken the stance that you need to come in here and this is what you use now. We've always, we're an agent's first brokerage. We've always looked at ourselves like an agent's first brokerage. It's about the agent. It's about their business, even down to their vendors, right? We don't dictate who they use. It's about their business and their relationships. So, if they can bolt on and use some of the things that we have and that we provide, great. If they want to use our vendors and the folks that we have, great. We would love that too, but we don't dictate it.
Okay. What are the challenges you guys face right now? Like when you think about getting to the next step, what is that next step? What do you want that next step to be, and what are some of the challenges you're facing getting there?
When we were smaller brokerage, we had this more of this hands-on type of a mentality. It was more of we would bring every agent in for a one-on-one orientation. We would do business coaching, for every single agent. Now with 2,300 agents, the value proposition has had to evolve. It's a different offering. We can't sit down one-on-one with 2,300 agents. So we're doing things in group. So I think that really I'm going to answer this kind of in two parts. One of our challenges is retention. 2,300 agents. Sadly, I think we all know that the failure rates in this industry are through the roof, right? So
what are you seeing? Like I heard 50% in year one, 95% in 5 years. What are you seeing?
I don't know what those stats even look like, but folks have told us, I have business coaches around the country, and multiple folks have always said, you expect to lose a third of your brokerage every single year, especially when you get to our size, right? Which is just crazy. So there's the third deal. Like a third are coming, a third are going, a third are just doing, right?
Okay.
And so thankfully, humbly, we haven't lost a third of our agents over the course of history. So but people fail. People decide to get into other industries or go back to what they were doing before. Now that the economy is coming back around and whatnot, But a challenge for us is to continue to facilitate growth and now get a far reach in a short amount of time. So versus the one-on-one type of things, now is how do we do things in group? A fun little thing we do, we call birthday breakfast. Everyone that has a birthday in a month, we invite to a breakfast. We're with 20 people at one time. It's a chance to mastermind, talk about business, get FaceTime with each other, build relationships in a group setting though, not one-on-one. So we're looking for these opportunities now of how do we reach folks. How do we get a far reach in a short amount of time? And agents have to think about the same thing too, right? As we go forward in this industry, we're give downward pressure on commissions, whether we have these disruptors that are coming along, whatever we're concerned about. I think that we all, if we don't recognize, I believe that we should, is that we need to start doing more transactions in a less amount of time. So how do you get a far reach in a short amount of time? So
what do you think is the one lever? Is the lever to improve retention? You help your agents do more deals in less time? Like, what is the reason why they're leaving, that if we could actually crack that nut, then the retention would go down?
Yeah, I don't know that people aren't necessarily like leaving for, of course it happens, they get a carrot from somewhere else or an opportunity, and we respect that, The bulk of folks that are leaving are just either getting out of the industry or they're just not making it.
And do you think it's just a function of like, we need to help them do more deals so they don't leave the industry, or do you think they're going to leave the industry anyway because they just don't even really want to be in real estate?
I think it's probably a mix of the two, and like we were mentioning, I think just high failure rates in this industry in general, whatever they may be, low barrier of entry, people that have failed in other industries that try to get into real estate, people that don't take it serious. I don't think people look at it as a career necessarily, and they definitely don't look at it as a business, right? They don't operate as business owners. So again, that's where we try to step in. We try to facilitate these discussions on how to run a business, on how to be a business owner. But unfortunately, not everybody hears it. Not everybody wants it either.
Let's go macro and talk about the real estate brokerage business model, because there's so many out there. Disruptors coming in, people with venture funding, people just with different models. I see, there's this discount, flat fee, almost employer-based models like Redfin and Purple Bricks, which has now left the U.S. More models coming out like that. I mean, even smaller startups, they're trying to do that flat fee type model. Then you've got Keller and Compass and, a kind of Remax, but more so like, hey, I got $1 billion, I want to spend it on tech. Then you've got the traditional brokerages are just trying to buy up or acquire or partner more technologies like Remax and all the Realogy brands. Then you've got all these independents coming out and trying to grow, and EXP and stuff like that. Like, do you think that the world is just going to be a mix of all these brokerages and everyone's going to find their niche of the agents that they're going to join that brokerage and the types of consumers they're going to work with? Or do you think some of those models are going to die off and there will be a couple that will win?
I think that it's good for the industry, it's good for agents to have options, it's good to have multiple models, and at the end of the day, find out what's the best fit for them to ultimately grow their own business. At the end of the day, like I just mentioned, it's about the agent, it's about their business, and they need to be the brand. That's a belief that we've always had at the core of us. The brand should never be bigger than the agent. This is, I think we've all recognized at this point, this is a human connection, human resource business. People work with people. People work with the people that they know, like, and trust, and that they want to work with. So we've always put the agent first. We've always believed in putting the agent in bright shining lights and branding the agent. Giving them their own brand. Of course, the MyHomeGroup brand has to go along with it for compliance and all those kinds of things. But giving them their own stage, giving them their own brand, and something to hold on to, whether it be their name or whether it be some sort of actual brand. How
do you help them with their personal brand?
So we have a full-on branding and marketing department. It's basically consultants. We'll sit down with them and help develop, and unpeel the onion on what it should look and feel, and the voice and tone, and what it should stand for each individual agent. So I think that the brokerage model is getting more and more competitive, obviously. I hope that not everybody, I hope that folks out there can buy into this and not race to zero, because we're not going to race to zero. At the end of the day, there needs to be some value, and if price is only an issue and lack, and without value, right? So, I think it's good for agents to have options in this industry. One little change and one little tweak, if it does go, there's talks around the country of a couple different, suits going on and whatnot. If things change, if things go to, if we do away with the independent contractors, which could happen,
everyone be employees,
right? Which could happen. I think it's a ways away still. But if that does happen, the franchise model's done. It's done. So again, a lot of folks pushing back against that don't want to see that happen. So
is it? Do you think the franchise? I mean, look at Subway. I own a franchise. There'll still be an owner of a franchise, but everyone who works within it will then be an employee. Do you think?
Right.
Do you think that the franchise model is done if the governments say like agents are employees of brokerages versus contractors?
I think it becomes a lot more challenging. Yeah.
And what do you think?
But yeah, that's speculation.
Is it? Do you think about that where it's like, okay, if that were to happen, I would just have to be redoing my agreements with all my people, and I could still end up having a business model just different?
Right.
Or is it like,
Yeah, there'd be less agents, putting everybody on salary, trying to equate for how much they're, making and estimating and, but position yourself. I think we have to be prepared for what could be coming in the future, obviously, and positioning ourselves. And I think that, regardless, downward pressure on commissions is here, right? So, speculating, maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, because who knows what's going to happen and where those things are going to go. Yeah. But we do know that the commission compression is here, and it's probably here to stay. Yeah. We know the tech is here; it's here to stay, and the disruptors. There's always been disruptors, but they're here too. So, I think that the transaction fee model is going to continue to become more desirable for agents, and is going to continue to spread around the country, and I think around the world.
Very cool. Okay. I got a lightning round of some questions to finish us off. I didn't prep you for this one. What's your favorite food? People get to know you. What's your favorite food?
Oh my goodness. What's my favorite food? If I could eat one thing every day that wouldn't turn into a 300-pound dude like I used to be a long time ago, pizza. We got to go with pizza, right?
What's your favorite genre of music?
Oh man, depends on what kind of mood I'm feeling. I'm all over the board. It's hip hop and anything I can shake my bouncy booty to. Yeah,
right on. Okay. Who are some people in business and life that are your role models that you look up to, that you admire, you look for inspiration?
I love to learn. It's not something I've always loved my whole life, but I now am a consummate student, so I'm constantly looking, for nuggets, for one-liners. I grasp on to all those things, So, Gary Vee to Grant Cardone to Darren Hardy, to my coaches. I'm constantly. I do believe that surrounding yourselves with people that truly make you better. So,
who are your coaches?
I have a couple that around the country. A gentleman named John Cheplack is our one of our primary coaches. And then a couple just business coaches that are in the industry. So,
what's the number one reason why agents fail?
They're not fully committed.
Cool.
They're not fully committed.
I'm a new agent. I've just joined MHG. I want to get a client. My first 30 days. What do I do?
Start calling everybody you know. Pick up the phone, start calling everybody you know.
What do you find agents waste their money on?
I think we get $99 to death, right, in this industry. It's the next thing, it's the next tool, the next resource. It's the next trick that's going to help people get productive. It's the old school tactics are still working. Yeah. And back to that, 30 days, I think we need to be more human than ever in this industry. We're going, again, the tech and the disruptors and this and the apps and the phones, it's being more real. You know, so even if you don't have any clients, do a client event for all your people right now. It's an invitation. It leads with value. You can turn it into multiple touch points, and it's real and it's human.
All right. What's more, I mean, you already said this earlier, what's more powerful to help an agent grow their business? This is for all the brokerages out there, because I feel like I know the answer. The brokerage's brand or the personal brand?
Yes, I did speak that. I'm a huge believer in the individual brand. You know, again, people work with people. So I believe that the individual has to stand out. They have to be that face. You know, and I think we have a little bit of a responsibility to turn ourselves into an artificial celebrity. Yep. You know, I mean, you put yourself on video here, you're
Yep.
turning yourself into a celebrity, you know.
Micro-influencers.
Yes.
You don't have to be million followers and 10 million followers. You can just be a micro-influencer in your local area or in your local niche, and it will do wonders for your business.
100%.
How can people get in touch with you if they want to get to know you, learn more from you, or potentially see if they want to join MHG?
Yeah, I love it. You know, I'm in the trenches. We're involved every single day. Like I said, we look at our agents and our teams like our partners. We're not sitting in some ivory tower just making sure things go smooth. We're really in the trenches. And folks that want to grow, whether it be their own business, a team, a brokerage, you know, like I said, we leave it with abundance. So I would love for folks to reach out to me. I mean, just you can email me direct, Jereme at MyHomeGroup. It's Jereme with an E, Jereme at myhomegroup.com. Start there.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for today's episode. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell icon so you always get notified of the new shows. If you're on Facebook, like the page, you can get notified as well. If you're on the podcast, make sure you also subscribe, because if you want this in audio form, you can always listen to this in the car, because when you're driving around, turn that into the library on wheels and get to know some of these leaders in real estate.
Thank you.
for being on
Appreciate
the
it.
show. All right, see you next time.